Could you tell me a little bit about how you mentally prepare to cover a crisis in the field?
Sure. I think the thing is that you have to kind of pregame it almost. You have to be able to say, what is happening? Do I know what's happening? I need to be prepared for what you might see and what you might not see. And you also need to just be on your feet and not be surprised. If you go out to a scene of an accident, if you got to a scene of a shooting, of a fire, or anything like that, especially if you get there early, there are chances that you might see something pretty horrific and even something that you're not supposed to see, but you just got there quickly. And so you really just need to kind of game out almost what is the worst case scenario of what I might see, what I might encounter. So that way you're just prepared for the worst.
I think I kind of pause. I kind of take a deep breath and then identify how I can help the people that are involved in this crisis. How can I comfort and reassure people, whether it's a caregiver or a physician or one of our patients or a community member? It's how can I ease the way of this person right now?
So you know what? I prior to Uvalde, I never really had to mentally prepare. And actually, I had also worked the San Bernardino terrorist shooting that happened back in 2015. And at that time, I had decided to get my master's here at Cal State Long Beach. I was in class in my seminar when our bureau chief called me and texted me and said, "There's been a mass shooting today. We need you to come." And so I had to leave class. I remember I slipped my professor a note and I said, "I'm sorry, I have to go." And I don't think that at that time I had mentally prepared. It was just more of like, it was an adrenaline kind of rush, right? Where I knew I had to get on the ground. I wasn't sure what to expect. What's the crime scene, right? Are we talking to victims, survivors? I had no idea what to expect. It was more of like, I heard the news, I had my journalist hat on, and I just rushed to the scene to do whatever I had to do, to help report the story. Fast forward now, right? I'm working on this big Uvalde project that's airing May 19th on 2020. Now I do have to mentally prepare every single time. I've never been more passionate about a project as I am with this one. And so every single time that I'm out there, that I'm filming with teachers, families, people, kids, whoever, members of the community, I have to just kind of emotionally and mentally prepare by, scheduling a therapy session, right, with the therapist that work provides, or doing my EMDR, or just decompressing and making sure that my head is clear so that I can go in and do my job and again do right by the people, because it is such a heartbreaking story to work on.
Do you guys have any essential tips for the recovery process from crisis communication? I know you guys talked about a couple, but are there any that are like underrated, people don't really think about, or anything you guys could add to that?
Underrated. I would say the thing that people don't really tap into is understanding that every time it might be different. So I think checking in with yourself and having a few go-tos in your back pocket that work most of the time is really beneficial, but it just really does depend on the day. We change so much day to day as humans that, you know, breathing techniques might work one day, PMR might work one day, but then journaling and exercising might work a different day. So I think it just is really fluctuates.
I'd say tap in with your basic needs. Are you hungry, tired, in pain? A lot of times it's harder to go outside of that. So if you can get into like your normal day-to-day stuff, a lot of times it'll increase your awareness.
Yeah, I agree with what they said, but I think my most underrated one is probably your space. Check in with your environment, right? Like we talk a lot about during the pandemic when we were doing Zoom from home. I would have students who were anxious or feeling a certain type of way, and it was like, well, what kind of space are you in? Do you have things everywhere? Do you have a space that's conducive to peace? And like, do you come back and feel like your nervous system can de-escalate, you can relax, or does it feel chaotic in your space as well?